Welcome to Cosmic Channels. I'm your host, Braden. Welcome to Cosmic Channels, your call-in show. We take all your stories on the supernatural, the paranormal, Bigfoot encounters, cryptid encounters, and all things in between. So if you've got a story that you want to call in on Cosmic Channels, the lines are open every Thursday, 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, at 1-833-703-0424. I'm looking for the first caller tonight. It's the first time in a long time that we haven't had a caller already in the wings when we opened the show. So I'm looking for the first caller. 1-833-703-0424. Who wants to be the first caller tonight? Who's got a story? I'm eager to hear it. So if you want to share your story, let me know. A couple changes. I had to swap up the QR code on Cosmic Channel. So if you're looking to support the show, just give the old QR code a scan, or go to streamlabs.com/CosmicChannels/tip. It's the best way to leave the show, leave a tip for the show. keep the lights on. The last QR code, I just got an email saying it's expired, and if I wanted to renew it, I would have to pay $100. And I was like, well, I'll just make a free one. So this is the temporary one I made this morning while we were getting set up today. But I need to call on the line. First call is the most important. I don't even know if the number's working. That's always the risk that I run running these things in the morning, is that, the lines aren't even working. So who wants to be that first call? I'm in an awkward position where the people who were supposed to send me stories back today this week didn't. So, we're in a lull, but there's lots of stories out there that have been sent out to people to read. And I didn't even have one prep, but let's pull one up. Let's pull up a fan read submission, and I will read one right now while we're waiting for the first call. This story is from. This is from. Can I say his name? This is from Tyler. And Bandito, do not worry, because that is not your fault. You're like number 10 on the list that I've just sent one to. So there's people that I've been kind of hounding. So I'm going to be sending lots more out to get those read. But this story is sent in by Tyler. It's a little short one here. Hi, my name is Tyler. I grew up in St. Petersburg, Florida, just across the bay from Tampa. This incident happened when I was about 13. I'm currently 25. Since I could remember, my dad would take us 3 hours north to Bell County, Florida, to visit our property off the Suwannee River. Most of the drive was highway, except for the last quarter of the drive where we would travel along a long, straight, 2-lane road through farmland. I was so accustomed to the drive that I knew where we were just based off the turns my dad would make. I would also almost never look up out of the truck window because I was glued to my Game Boy Color. Great little system, great little rig. But this one night was different. My dad decided to try a different route to see if it was faster, so I wanted to watch out the window to see some new surroundings. It was late, maybe 11:30 p.m., so I couldn't see much except for the dim lights of the house in the woods. We came across a very large clearing in the woods. It was a field with a large phone tower in the middle. Something caught my eye. A dim green glow coming from the base of the tower. As we approached, it got brighter, up until we were at the closest point to it. Then, it completely shut off. I asked my dad what it was, and he didn't see anything. But I was certain it was something trying to hide from us. I watched through the black window of the truck as we drove away, completely confused. Then, all of a sudden, it started to light up again. At this point, it was so bright I could see the edges of the clearing and out of the lines of the trees surrounding. As it got brighter, it seemed to emit some type of force field-looking orb into the trees and out the road. It freaked me out so bad I got my dad's attention. When he looked through the mirror, it was gone. I didn't watch it disappear. It vanished as soon as I took my eyes away. I can't explain what it was, but it scared the shit out of me as a kid. Thanks for reading my story. I have a few more from the same area and on our property. Love you guys. Keep up the great work. P.S. Braden is my favorite. I lost a ton of money betting on the lines, hence why Andrew's no longer your favorite. Tyler, thank you for sharing that in. It's an interesting one. The green light that's hiding. And it's weird when you kind of see these kind of strange things and you're like, you get that feeling like of almost like of an intelligence when stuff like that, and you think it's hiding. It's interesting. I wonder what it could be. Ground level, on the base of a TV tower or a cell tower or something. It's kind of strange. I'm not gonna lie. It's an interesting as to what it was. And it definitely, it seems like it's conscious of you because it was reacting, like it seems. So, but thank you for writing in. If you got a story you don't want to call, you're too nervous, you're listening, you're like, hey, you're listening to the pod version of these things, and you're like, I don't got what it takes, I'm too nervous. You can always write in your story. Send it to CosmicChannelsPodcast at gmails.com. And you never know who's going to read it. Could be me. Could have one of our many fans read it. But you never know. Thank you so much, Tyler, for sending that in. But the lines are open. What's going on tonight? The lines are absolutely cold. We need a first call. We need someone to step up to the plate to get entice everyone else to call. So if you're sitting there and you're going, I got a story. Maybe today's the day maybe I'll call in. Absolutely. Call in right now. 1-833-703-0424. I'm looking for the first call of the night. If not, I got a couple other stories we could read here, but they're not as fun as I like to. If I'm reading the stories, I like to put a little production value in. So I'm gonna have to do that anyways. So I want a live story. I want to call on the line 1-833-703-0424. I'm hoping the lines are working. Something's going wrong, but let me know if you got a call. 1-833-703. That may be my fault, Braden. I advertised on TikTok. It starts at 8:30 because I thought it started. I'm sorry. I don't know what that. Oh, there's the first call of the night. Woo! It's about time. I was getting nervous there. 8 minutes in. It's a record slow night, everybody. Calls take priority. Cosmic Channels, what's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, Braden.
Hey, what's going on, buddy?
Not much.
You promised last week that you were going to call in a story. You also were supposed to. Oh, what happened to my camera there? You were also. What else were you supposed to do? Supposed to remind me so I could prep those pictures.
Yeah. Well, there's always next week, folks.
Oh, I want to hear the story. Let's hear it.
Well, I just had a suggestion.
What's the suggestion?
On the stories that are sent in.
Yeah.
Maybe you read over them a couple times before you do the final reading.
Why's that?
So you can read nice and smooth.
Well, this one I never read before. I was just waiting for a call. I decided to pull one up on the fly.
Oh, but can you bring back out that UFO book where it's like those random freaking stories? Because that was hilarious.
Yeah,
I know everybody loves that book.
I'm not sure where it is.
I was just making sure your lines work for you, bud.
Yeah, thank you, buddy.
No problem.
Yeah. I'll read a passage for you while we're waiting for another call. Send me those. Remind me next week to post those pictures. I want your story.
Okay.
All right.
I'll say bye this time.
All right. Goodbye. Goodbye. Oh, you bastard. Like, technically, I guess he did say bye. I don't know why my camera went dark all of a sudden, too. That's strange. Weird stuff going on tonight. I don't know what's going on. Lines are open. 1-833-703-0424. We're looking for the first call tonight on a what we're competing with tonight. I'm not sure what's going on. Where all the callers are tonight, but that's okay. We'll get some stories. We got to get enough to make an episode here, so there's still lots of time. 1-833-703-0424. Just for John Jacoby, because he was nice enough to call and make sure the line's working. I will post out the UFO case file of the book. The only thing is I don't know where I've read and what I haven't read, so I'm going to pull some of them out. But if you're listening and you're like, hey, listen, I want a story. I'm waiting. Tonight's the night. Lines are absolutely cold right now. 1-833-703-0424. I need some stories. Someone's got a story for sure. Get on there. I don't know why that alert's even coming up. I was looking for it as I'm going, and I'm like, no, there we go. I just had to minus it. I don't know why they come up so loud. I have it muted. All right. Let's go to the UFO encyclopedia, and I'll pull up a random story. The problem is they're not all that great. There's only a handful of good ones here. I have some checked. I have them absolutely turned off, but now the problem is I can't see. All right, we got Johnson, Flying Officer TS. This one's a nice little short one from the UFO Encyclopedia. In November 1953, Royal Air Force Officer T.S. Johnson and his co-pilot, Officer G. Smythe, in a vampire fighter over their base, Royal Air Force West Malling in Kent, encountered a stationary glowing object above their flight position. The object appears to have made a sharp turn towards them before moving off at incredible speeds. They routinely reported the incident to their commander and were somewhat surprised to end up being interrogated over an hour by intelligence officers from the RAF. See? Not that exciting. Yeah, that's a like, some of them are just so mundane. Like there's few that's the problem with this book. It's like you're digging through. We've read a lot of the good ones, so it's hard. Let's do another one while we're waiting for a call. 1-833-703-0424. I don't know what the lines are. Something must be going on Thursday night here where it's so dead. But lines are open. 1-833-703-0424. This one I pulled up. Irwin Gary. In February 1959, Private Gary Irwin was driving from Idaho to his barracks at El Paso, Texas, when at Cedar City, Utah, he observed a glowing UFO. He was of the opinion that he might be watching a crashing aircraft and made an immediate attempt to aid any survivors. He left a note in his car requesting that anybody reading it should call the police. On the side of his car, he wrote the word "stop" in shoe polish to direct people to the note. I mean, it seems like a lot of work if you're like, oh my God, people are dying. Hold on, I gotta write this note. Bust out the shoe polish, make some arrows to the note. Interesting plan. I guess 1959. What else are you gonna do? The Cedar City Sheriff and others eventually found Private Gary Irwin unconscious. Some hour and a half after the sighting, there had been no airplane crash. He re-awoke in the hospital. Call take priority. Let's go to the caller. Cosmic Channels, what's your name? Where are you calling from?
Braden, it's Jameson from Jacksonville, Florida.
What's going on? How's it going tonight?
Pretty dead, so I figured I'd call in.
Oh, right on, man. Thank you for being the first call of the night. Well, let me just make sure the audio levels aren't blowing everyone's ears off. How's the audio on that on this call, everyone? Is the audio too loud or is it good? Static. Yeah, talk again for a second.
One second. Let me take my headset off because it usually...
Yeah, it might be the headset.
Okay.
Might be headset.
Is that better?
I think that sounds better.
Okay.
Okay. Beautiful. There we go. I think that's better. We're gonna reset that. All right. I'm gonna pretend to re-answer so when I edit this, it's nice and clean. All right.
10-4.
All right. Cosmic Channels. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Jameson from Jacksonville.
Right on, buddy. Thank you for calling in on this has been the slowest night since we restarted Cosmic Channels. It's okay. It was bound to happen, but we got you here. What do you got for us tonight?
I got two really quick stories. One's Ouija, one's a little dream policey, but so we played Ouija back when I was, I don't know, I'm 27 now. We probably played when I was 12, and I didn't believe it was working. The planchette moved around the board, and I was blaming my stepbrother, like, oh, you don't do that. That's freaky. Quit trying to screw with me. And we thought nothing of it. Probably didn't close the board out the way we were supposed to. And a little while later, a few weeks or so later, my mom said, I saw this figure in the kitchen. And we're like, yeah, I don't know what's causing that. She is a big Indian man, like a chief. And then my sister, I believe, said the same thing a few weeks later after that. That's about the end of that story. It was kind of weird that happened, and
so
at the same time we played the Ouija board.
So hold on. Let's back this up here. Let's break this down. You're playing Ouija, and you think you're making contact something, but you just kind of play it off as you think it must be your siblings?
I thought my sibling was messing with me. The planchette was moving. We both had our hands on it. It was moving. I didn't believe it was moving.
And
it may or may not have moved supernaturally.
Yeah, but then it ends, and you're like, okay, well, that's strange. And afterwards, your mom sees like an apparition of some sort of like
a big Indian chief, like just chilling in our kitchen.
And other members of your family saw that as well.
Yeah, my sister saw it as well in the same house.
Oh, that's so
and
wild.
I never really connected the two things until I was like weird. I was probably listening to Cosmic Channels, and I'm like thinking about it. I'm like, I played Ouija one time. I was like, played a second after playing Ouija. My mom saw that weird figure in the kitchen.
Well,
like that might have been my fault.
Well, and if you're thinking about it, if you like, you know, did you guys close the board properly? Like, did you close the session? Probably not, because you thought you were
absolutely not.
Right? So people thought everyone was mucking about, you know, playing silly bugger. So you're like, you know, whatever, you throw it, flip the board, whatever, like Monopoly style. You don't close that thing, so this thing's just kind of left there, right, for a while, just lingering. With this connection you made. That's so interesting. No, no ghost footprints or anything else, just like a full-on apparition that they just saw and disappeared.
Yeah, that's about the end of that one.
Wild. That's so crazy. And like nothing else accompanied it. Just like it's such a wild one to go from, like, you know, sometimes people see that build, right, of like, oh, footsteps, oh, you know, creaky doors, and then they're just straight to apparition.
Yeah, so that was like the only thing I remember from that house. Really is, I mean, it's been a while now since I thought about it, but nothing really crazy else happened. But
wild. That's terrifying. And never again, like just like those two instances, and then that was it.
Yeah, well, we moved shortly after that to another house.
Oh, you bastards! You just left US. You left.
It may still be haunted.
Yeah, you left some other poor family to deal with it.
Yeah, they'll be fine.
Oh, that's hilarious. No chance you ever go back to that house, or in the area?
No, I moved pretty far away from that area. We had 3 houses in the same area, so like we moved a couple times, but nothing ever really happened after that.
Weird. Yeah, it's too bad, because I mean, if you live in the area, then you could be like, you might be able to ask people like, hey, anyone else here ever seen something like this? I'm always kind of interested in if other people moving in after kind of get the same experiences.
I mean, I still know where the house is. I could always stop by. It's only like 45 minutes from where I'm at now.
Well, I mean, if you're ever in the area,
stop by. Like, you guys seen anything crazy around here?
Well, yeah, I don't think, you know what, though? It is kind of a little offside, because I think if someone knocked on my door and was like, hey, how's it going? I'm like, good. And they're like, hi. Hey, I got a weird question. I used to live here. You guys see any apparitions? I'd be like, what?
You guys see any ghosts around here?
Yeah, what? Yeah, I mean, it's a hard one to broach, but I'm just always so curious. But yeah, I would definitely not. I would be like, oh shit, looking around my house all the time after that. Yeah, weird story. And you said you had another borderline dream police all out tonight.
The other quick one was just I was staying in the hotel up in North Carolina, and we were working night shifts, so I was sleeping during the day, and all I heard all day was, you know, banging and stuff upstairs, and I was kind of writing it off. But like when I laid down in my bed, the room just felt like evil or weird or something, and I'm not normally one to like jump to the conclusions like that, and I've never had like night terrors, nothing like that. But I was laying in my bed one day, and I swore I was awake, and I felt something sit on my feet. And I'm in the room by myself. And the next thing you know, all I hear is breathing in my ear, and I can't move. and then I wake up and I'm just freaking out, sweating. And from the rest of that week, I think that was like on a Tuesday, the rest of the week I slept with a Bible next to me. Because it just freaked me out beyond belief. I was like, I've never had this happen before. I've never had any kind of encounters like that, but it's just like even the first night, I think it was the second night that happened. The first night, it just something felt wrong when I went to bed.
I mean, the sitting, like, if it wasn't accompanied by the paralysis, because like those are like a lot of people see some fucked up things when they have sleep paralysis, like demon ladies on top of them, like right in their face and stuff. The weird one is the feeling someone, like that pressure of someone sitting on your feet. Because like, you know, Zell's had that happen. My spouse Jamie, when, you know, we've been out and about, especially staying at my parents' house, she said it felt like someone walked across the bed at night, like stepped across the bed. So that's weird.
Like I have cats, so I'm used to like the walking across the bed. Like I know what that feels like.
Yeah.
But it felt like something was like pinning me down, and I'm like, I'm not normally one to like have sleep paralysis.
Yeah,
this is kind of weird and scary, and it's never happened since then. It's been about 5-6 months since then, and it's never happened again. Never happened before that.
Yeah, I mean, sleep paralysis is just so, like, I've never had it, but it sounds so terrifying. The accounts that people have shared with us over the years. So it's, you know, is it something else? Like, it's hard to. That's the thing with the sleeping ones. You're like, is it? Can you chalk it up to sleep paralysis and whatever's going on with that kind of phenomenon in that, or is it something else? You know, and are we mistakenly chalking because it's only happened once? So is this like, is this something else? Right? It's
And like I said, they were doing construction the floor above me, so like if it was that, like they might have pissed something off. That's usually how the stories go.
And took it out on you.
Yeah, I was like, this is horrible. I was about to ask for a change of room if it happened again.
That's wild. Thank you so much for calling in and sharing those and being the first caller. Well, you technically weren't the first caller, but the first caller with the story. Really appreciate it. Hopefully that, you know, gets other people, you know, a little more, gets their courage up to want to call in and share their accounts.
See if I can get my wife to muster up the courage to tell her ghost story.
Oh, I'd love to hear it.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you so much for calling in. Bye. Whew. Never had sleep paralysis. But that's what it sounds like. It sounds terrifying. I definitely wouldn't want to have to deal with it. But here we go. It took a little while. Need a little oil to get going tonight. But here we go. Cosmic Channels, what's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, Braden, it's Sexy Noah.
Hey, Noah, how's it going?
Hey, okay. I just wanted to tell you a story about
This isn't Noah.
something that happened to my boss.
This isn't Noah. I know what Noah sounds like. This is John Jacoby.
Dang it. All right, let's start over. Hey, this is John Jacoby from Cincinnati, Ohio.
Yeah.
Hey, but I do really have a story for you.
All right, let's hear it.
So, my old boss, when he was a kid, he said he was probably like 8 years old or so. He moved into this, old farmhouse, and there was a house over next door, too. Well, when he first moved in, he went out, he was playing out in the yard and stuff, and out behind the neighbor's house, he saw this old man with a big, one of them, what they call milk, whatever, freaking big old hats,
Oh, yeah, like a sun hat or like a bucket hat or?
Yeah, like one of those big jug hats, whatever, you know what I'm talking about. So once they got to meet the neighbors and everything, they went into their house, and he pointed at a picture of that guy and said, hey, I seen him out back in the garden. And they were like, he's been dead for years.
Got. He's still there?
Huh?
Oh, I'm never sure if
Yeah.
you're just hanging up on me.
Oh no!
So,
I was just, that was the end of the story.
no other update. Just like this person, like what did?
Yeah, I mean, that was the only time he seen it. But I mean, could you imagine seeing an old man and finding out he's dead? That'd be so trippy.
Well, I mean, it's terrifying that a lot of people kind of have any kind. It'd be terrifying seeing any kind of apparition, to be honest. And like have that conscious realization afterwards, or someone tell you that like, no, there was no one there, and you're like, I definitely saw someone. It would be so unsettling. I wouldn't know what to do. Like, it would be absolutely nerve-wracking.
And I don't understand why ghosts walk through walls, but they don't go through floors. What's going on there?
Well, so one of the theories that I've always liked is that if it's like the stone tape theory, where these things are like, we see them and they exist, but we're just kind of glimpsing, into the past, or there's some sort of time phenomenon happening, and you're just kind of seeing these apparitions. Well, they're still walking the route they would have walked, but maybe like the buildings or whatever's around them has changed, so they appear to walk through a wall when really, maybe when they lived there, there wasn't a wall. It was a doorway there, and things have renovated and changed, but they still, stick to their pattern. But to me, that would then point to them not being. It would be more of like some sort of time phenomenon that we're seeing, if that's the case. But I always kind of liked that theory when it came to why they walk through walls.
Yeah, very good. Nerd.
Thanks for calling in.
Hey, no problem.
Bye. Yeah, exactly. Duchess of Doobies. It's like just repeating history. But I kind of think that's maybe why we see these things, because that's what I chalk up those ghost lights to in the forest when people say they see the old cars and stuff, right? They're driving down roads that once were that are no longer. We got a call on the line. Let's go right to the call. Cosmic Channels, what's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, my name's Austin, calling from Utah.
Austin. I don't think have you called in before?
Sir. I have. It's been probably 2 years.
Oh, right on. So you're old. Yeah. You're back. You're OG because you were on old version.
That's right. Yeah.
Well, welcome
been
back.
Listening for a long time.
Welcome back to the show.
Thanks.
What do you got for us?
I had a couple things. I have a story, but then I also wanted to corroborate a story from season 7, episode 5.
Okay.
A guy from Utah called in about a bean-shaped UFO.
Yeah, the silver bean?
Yeah, the silver bean.
Yeah.
So probably like 10, 15 miles south of that same town, Ogden, I was driving one night, and I had actually just been recording a podcast that night with my buddy. And on the podcast, we were talking about aliens and how it's always two hillbillies from Alabama that get abducted and no one ever believes them, right? So on the podcast, I was like, aliens, if you can hear me, like, come get me, I'll tell your story, like joking. And then this night I'm driving down this big valley, and I can see probably like 15 miles, 20 miles down this super bright light in the sky, and it's near like a big international airport. So I thought, oh, it's just like a plane or something. So I'm driving, and I see this thing stays in the same spot for like 15, 20 minutes. I'm like, that's weird. And I keep getting closer to it, keeps getting bigger. And as I get closer to it, I'm kind of to the side of it now, and I can see it. And the bottom of it is shaped like a bean, and it's super lit up, like probably like 4 or 5 lights on the bottom. And then the top is just a giant fin. Like, I don't know if you've ever seen Star Wars, but there's this ship that's like super triangular, and it has wings that fold down like it was that same shape.
Yeah, I know.
And so it looked like that on the top, and then the bottom was like kind of curved, and it was this like greenish metallic color. So I pull up on the side of the road, and I call my buddy that I was recording the podcast with, and I was like, dude, it's happening. They're coming. Like, they're going to abduct me. I'm freaking out. Like, if you don't hear from me, like, tell my story. And I didn't know what it was. It wasn't like any plane I'd ever seen. But when he said that he had seen that bean on one of the last episodes, I was like, that's really weird, because mine had the bean shape on the bottom, but it had this giant fin, like, coming out of the top. So I'm sitting there. I pulled off on the side of the freeway, and I'm taking pictures of it, and of course they're like the crappiest pictures. You know, it's nighttime. It's probably like midnight or 1 a.m, and I could see like underneath it. I was like, is that like a big like cell phone tower or something? But it was high enough that I knew it wasn't like a tower or anything like that, and I could see fully underneath it, and I could see like there was no pole or anything underneath it. That's so weird. But it never moved. It stayed in the same spot for, I don't know, 20, 25 minutes. And then all of a sudden it just took off, and it just, like, within a second, I watched it just go across the entire valley, like, I don't know, 50 miles, and then it was gone.
Weird. Like how fast did it move when it was gone?
Oh, it was like 1 second. So I see it, and then within a second, it just jets across. It looked like a shooting star, basically. It's just completely gone. Didn't see it again.
From a standstill.
From a standstill, yeah. It never moved. Like, it stayed stationary the whole time I saw it, up until it just jetted away and was gone.
No noises? Did you hear any noises or anything, like when it was moving or took off?
No, so I was out of my car. Like, I pulled over on the freeway and was looking at it outside, and I couldn't hear anything. But then again, like, cars are passing by on the freeway, you know. And I was far enough away that I probably wouldn't have heard anything if it was making a sound. But yeah, when it jetted away, I didn't hear anything. I just saw it.
You know, I'm going to have to ask, too, because people always want to ask, any weird smells? Like, anything of note?
No, not at all. Like, stone cold sober, no smells, nothing else. But I was super freaked out that night because on the podcast, I was like, aliens, come get me. You know, so I was like, the whole night, I'm like, I'm going to freaking get abducted and get probed. And
I mean, it's so weird to, you know, that we've had that other person from that area call, and now you're like, you put it consciously out there. Have you tried?
Yeah.
Have you tried since then to, you know, maybe reconnect? I'm not saying that maybe you did or didn't make a conscious connection, but that's something that people say they have sometimes when they see these things. They have a feeling that there is some sort of connection. Have you tried any experiments of seeing if you can see it again?
So that time, no, but like other times I'll be looking up at the sky, like camping or whatever, and I'll see something weird, and I'll be like, I'm just going to stare at this as long as I can and like see if I can make something happen. But I haven't ever seen anything like super weird other than that. But what was crazy though is the guy that originally called in a few episodes ago, he said it was like summer 2019. This happened August of 2019, so it was right around the same time. I will say this, there is an Air Force base right, like probably like 10, 15 miles away from where I saw it. So do I think it was alien? Like, I don't know. Like, I've never seen anything that looked like that before, but I would guess that it was probably like some secret government thing. But like with how fast it took off though, I'm like, I don't think we have that yet.
Well, yeah, and from a standstill too, right? Like hovering standstill to like just absolutely moving. Like we have those, like there's those I know those jets we have that can do that, but I mean, like I feel like you would have either heard propulsion or like if you've ever seen like a fighter jet go by, like you know, you can hear them at some distance as well. So I feel like you would have heard something, especially on a quiet night with not a lot of ambient noise out and about.
Right, and I also checked MUFON too because I felt like it's over a fairly populated area. It's just north of Salt Lake City, so like a major city.
Oh, yeah, good chance.
Probably like 30, 40 miles north of Salt Lake, so fairly populated, but it was late at night. I checked and they never saw anything. I guess saw other descriptions of UFOs around that same time, but never anything that like matched that exact description until I listened to that last guy. I think his name was Alden on that episode.
Can I ask you a pointed question here? Did you file a report with MUFON?
I didn't.
See, hey, hold on. And this is an issue that I think a lot of people who are interested in this stuff and see stuff will check. They'll go through the motions of checking MUFON because they're like, I want to know, was I crazy? Did I see this? Right? And then they look and they go, well, no one else saw it. Maybe, I don't know. And I think it's one of those things where it's like, you know, if you're in trouble, you always yell fire because people come running to fire, but they might ignore anything else. I think because people don't see something, it's almost like they're like, okay, I must just be me. So I think there's, you know, by the sounds of it, now we have two people in the same area in the same time that have seen something, right? Maybe there was more, but just no one's reporting it because they're like, that was so fucking weird. What the hell? What did I see?
Well, it's so taboo too. Like, especially in Utah where it's like a super religious community, it's almost taboo to talk about anything like extraterrestrial or like paranormal. And so, yeah, you don't want to talk about it like with your circle of friends because you never know who's going to like make fun of you or think you're crazy. Like I've told everybody.
Yeah.
but yeah, like I thought it was cool. So I wanted to corroborate that guy's story, but then if it's okay, I wanted to tell another one that I had recently too that I have no idea how this happened.
Let's hear it.
So I was at work. I went to work late one night. Used to work in this building. This happened probably 6-7 months ago, so kind of tail end of last year. I go to work one night, so I left something there, like my wallet or phone or something, and it was late. It was like 9:30, 10 at night, so it's completely dark, and the building I work in is in this old kind of ghetto, like strip mall. Like half the buildings in there are like vacated, and then there's my building. So you walk in, and there's 3 separate rooms that are all separated just like by partition walls, and then along the back there's a big, like probably 10-foot wide hallway where all the bathrooms are and like a kitchen area and stuff. So I walked in, flip on the lights, go to grab my office is kind of toward the front of the building. So I go in my office, grab my wallet, and then I hear something in the back. Like I thought I heard a door close or like something fall down or something. So I'm like, that's weird. Maybe I should go check this out. So I go back, turn on the lights, and I see the bathroom door open, and out of the bathroom door walks myself. Like I saw basically an exact clone of myself wearing the same clothing, same, like everything, exactly as I was dressed. And then I stared at it for, like, I was completely taken aback. I didn't scream or anything. I was just like so stunned that I didn't even say anything. And so I just like stared at myself for probably 5 or 10 seconds. And then it's weird to say it, like he winked at me, and he like winked and smiled at me. And in my mind, like I heard my inner monologue tell myself like, hey, don't worry. Like, I know this is weird for you right now, but like, don't worry. This isn't anything bad. And then he just walked out the front door of the building and left. And I didn't like follow him to see where he went or anything, but I never saw him again. And yeah, like, I don't know what it was, but it was just a basic, like a carbon copy, complete exact copy of myself.
Is this before or after, like before or after you seeing the bean?
So this was like 6 months ago. The bean was 4 years ago, almost 3.5 years ago. So yeah, it's been a while. It's been a while since the bean, but this was recent. And I haven't told anybody but my wife this story because I'm like, I haven't ever heard anyone have anything similar to this before. But yeah, this was just recent.
I mean, that is so fucking creepy.
Yeah.
And like, what do you think it is? What do you think that was? I asked my wife that because I had no idea, and she said, like, we both believe in like the multiverse theory, like different dimensions and things like that, and so she thinks like maybe our dimension just somehow crossed with another timeline, or something, and you basically just saw yourself in this other timeline. But it's weird to me that kind of the other me knew like what was going on. Like he was aware that for me it was weird. Like he wasn't freaked out by it, he was like thought it was normal for him. Like it was almost like he planned it or something. And then for me, like it was obviously weird, but for him it wasn't. So I have no idea, but that's the best explanation I've heard, is that it's just like a crossing of timelines or something. Do you still work there?
No, I don't.
Oh, okay.
But I did until just like a month ago, and I'd go back all the time at night to work on stuff, and every time I did, like I would be super freaked out, and then my wife would tell me like, hey, if you see yourself tonight, like ask yourself like this question or something. She'd joke about it, like, hey, ask yourself like, I don't know, just this random thing, or like, hey, don't run into yourself, like don't get eaten by yourself tonight, some joke or something. But it's like still a running joke. If I go somewhere late at night, she's like, hey, don't run into yourself.
Well, I mean, like, were you overly tired or anything? I'm just trying to like
no.
So how did that end? How did this kind of meeting end? You just kind of see it winks, and then you kind of get these voices.
Yeah. So like the whole thing, like from me entering my office building to him leaving, was like maybe 2 minutes. So like I go inside, grab my wallet. I hear something in the back. I walk back there. The whole thing of us like meeting and confronting each other, like 30 seconds. Like he opens the bathroom door, he comes out. I see him, probably stare at him for 10 seconds, and then he leaves. And I'm just like rooted to the spot. I didn't even move. Like I just watched him walk out the door. And then I just like stood there for like a minute, like what the hell is that, you know? And then I left. I just like booked it out of there, but I didn't see him. Like when I went outside, I didn't see him. I kind of drove around the parking lot because I was like, where did he go? Like, did he just disappear? Like, what happened? So I drove around the parking lot and I didn't see anything, and then I just went home.
Oh my God, that's so terrifying.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
And just so nonchalant, like to even give you a wink, like cocky bastard, whatever that thing is.
Yeah. Well, so the one thing that I thought of, this is really weird, but if you've ever seen the first Harry Potter movie, when he like looks in the mirror and he sees himself like holding the Sorcerer's Stone, and the mirror image of him like winks back and smiles at him, like that's exactly what it felt like. And so I was like,
did you have the Sorcerer's Stone?
I feel like I should have been more scared than I was. But like in the moment, like I was freaked out.
Yeah.
But I wasn't like super terrified. Like it was really weird, but like I feel like I should have been more scared or like screamed or ran away or something.
Well, I think it's one of those things that people don't realize, that when something like this happens, it's one thing to talk about it afterwards, after the fact happens, but when this really happens and you have this kind of experience, you kind of freeze up because you almost can't even process it in real time.
Right.
Like,
and
it's,
you would never think that would ever happen.
Yeah.
And so when it does, you're just like, what the heck
you're
is
almost
going
like
on?
frozen, and like it's almost like your brain resets, and you're just like, I have no, like, you don't even, you just are in shock. It's weird because I've had that experience happen where you're just kind of you're like, I didn't even think to do anything because I couldn't. Like I just had no idea.
Yeah.
So it's a weird thing, but fuck, it's so weird. I wonder what the hell that thing is. Like you didn't really seem malicious or anything, but it's like creepy. Why is it looking? People in the chat are saying you found your tether.
I guess so, and I haven't had anything weird happen since. Like I'm always like, am I gonna see him again? Like I thought maybe like, is he like a messenger? Like is he gonna like my guardian angel or something? You know, but like I don't know. But yeah, like it's weird. Yeah, you never expect to see yourself, obviously. Like I feel like if it were somebody else, it would be less weird than if it were myself. But yeah, it's strange.
Well, yeah, and then it's like, you know, I in my head I start going through like all the things that that people say will like change, like shapeshifters and, you know, like skinwalkers and and all these things that take different various shapes, and I'm just like, it's just a very weird one. And then to just casually leave, weird.
And I'm like kicking myself. I'm like, I should have like talked to him, or like, because you always hear the stories of skinwalkers where it's like, oh, it was mimicking this person, but their voice was like super weird, or their eyes were black or whatever, you know. And he didn't look like, he looked exactly like me. There was no difference at all. Like it wasn't like he was like robotic or like had dark eyes or anything like that. It was like a carbon copy.
Weird. And so it wasn't like a copy of you from like the last day. It was like the date, like you then and there. Like
right in that moment. Same hat, same shirt, like everything.
That's weird in itself, because you're like, where did it go after? What did it do?
Yeah.
Right?
Well, yeah, that's the other thing. Like the building, like you can't access behind the building, and it's in a massive parking lot.
Yeah.
Like it would take you like 10 minutes just to walk across the parking lot. So by the time I went outside, I'm like, surely he can't have gone anywhere. Like he has to be close. So that's why I drove around, and I was like, yeah, don't see him anywhere.
Wild, man. That's a terrifying story. Thank you so much for sharing. Thank you first for corroborating the bean, the Utah bean, we're calling it now. And then hopefully someone else hears that story and calls in with a mimic story or something.
I hope so. Yeah, make me feel a little less crazy.
All right. Thank you so much for calling in.
Okay. Thanks, Braden.
All right. Peace.
Yeah.
I got to take a quick break here. I'll be back in 2 minutes, but I don't want to leave you guys sitting on anything. So here's an old story. This is an old one. I will end it a second I'm back. Just got something pressing I have to attend to. The lines are open. I will answer them as soon as I'm back.
My name is Renee. I'm 20 years old from rural Minnesota, and I only recently started listening to the podcast. I have a few personal experiences I'd like to share with you guys, involving both aliens and ghosts. And I have a feeling that this will turn out to be a long email, so strap yourselves in, boys. Well, Renee, I'm sorry, but you got me, and you're gonna have to deal with that. Sorry to let you down. UFO encounters. First, I'd like to start off by saying that I live in the middle of nowhere in Minnesota, and the sky is absolutely beautiful here, especially on a clear night. The first experience I remember having with a UFO happened when I was probably around 10 years old, give or take a couple years. It was late at night, and my best friend and I were laying on my trampoline, looking up at the sky, and suddenly, we saw these weird lights showing up in the sky above us. It was shaped like 3 white lights in a triangular shape, like a Foo Fighter, I guess. It was moving slowly and silently, and after a minute or two, it stopped and hovered above us for a while. I couldn't tell how big it was or how far away it was, but it seemed pretty far. The lights, I think I remember, were about 2 or 3 times as big as the stars. It stayed above us for a few minutes, and suddenly it zipped away. That shit had us freaking out all night long. Another strange thing happened back when I was 12. I had this strange series of dreams where aliens would take me on their ship, and they'd do some tests and introduce me to these alien-human hybrid things. I don't remember exactly, but I remember when I was having these dreams, I was obsessed with drawing what I saw. It would be nice to find some of those drawings, but I think my mom probably threw them away. I have countless instances of lost time throughout my life as well. I've heard that might be signs of abduction, and maybe these dreams are actually memories? I don't know, but honestly, I think that's probably bullshit. They're probably just dreams. On the off chance I was abducted though, that'd be pretty cool. Ghostly encounters. That's about it for aliens, I guess. So, on to the ghosts. I have maybe 3 stories I can remember right now. The first one happened when I was probably 14 or 15. Again, pretty young. Summer just started, and I was home alone with my dog and cat, when suddenly there was this voice I heard coming from behind me. It sounded like a little girl. She said something like, and I turned around to see if someone was there, but I didn't see anyone. My dog went running to where the voice came from, her tail wagging because she probably thought somebody wanted to take her for a walk or something. She got to the living room and her mood started to change almost instantly. She started barking and growling at the wall behind me. Even my cat was hissing. It took a while for all 3 of us to calm down. There were other instances at that house that I can remember, but they're easily debunked, like cold spots, footsteps, scratch marks, etc. The next story is one that creeps me out the most. I get shivers whenever I think about it. It was in my senior year of high school, and I was going to this boarding school in Minneapolis. So I was living in a dorm. I just want to point out that the building used to be a Lutheran college, I think. It was incredibly old, and I know of at least 1 murder there, and a few attempted at least suicides. I'm not sure if any of them were successful though. A few of my friends and my roommate decided they wanted to try out the Ouija board. I was too scared to participate in the actual using of the board, so I was made the official rule keeper and safety person to keep things as safe as possible. They do this with the board every night for about a week, in my dorm. We've got a salt circle and everything. Everyone sits inside the circle, and I'm on my bed looking at safety precautions and stuff. They make contact throughout the week, a few times. Some of the spirits are pretty normal, a few are kind of mean, and 1 or 2 claim to be a demon, but I'm not convinced. They've got to be moving it or something, or collective consciousness or whatever. But it's all fun and games until the last night. They decided they wanted to make contact with someone that one of us knew was dead. So everyone's making suggestions, grandparents, stuff like that. And then my roommate tells everyone that my parents are dead, which they are. Both of my parents had died when I was about 2 weeks old in a car accident. Before I can say anything, the planchette starts moving. Not on its own, of course. Everyone's fingers were still on the board. It spells out D-A-D. They asked the board if it was my dad responding, and it goes straight to yes. The spirit or whatever says it can't stay long. I think I remember reading somewhere that a spirit interacting with the board too long becomes attached to it. The spirit basically just told me it loved me, was proud of me, and wished it was still alive and stuff. And I'm crying. I want to believe it was him, but honestly, it could have been anything. The next spirit was terrifying. I don't remember much of what happened, but I remember the group ended up thinking I was possessed. I was zoned out or something? I don't know. I would ask those friends, if I could, but I recently had a falling out with the only one I still had any contact with. I might try and find one of them later on, but I'm trying to get this email out before I go to work. I don't know if it's a real thing or not, or it's just something from that show Supernatural, but one of the girls looked me in the eyes and said the word Cristo, which apparently I flinched at. Cristo is Jesus' name or something. The show said that, but it wasn't, Renee. Sorry to break it to you. Well, it is, but not in the language they said. Don't be taking your advice from Supernatural, girl. That show is fiction. Where was I? They tested it a few times on me, and I didn't feel like I was flinching or anything, but according to them, I did. So they all got freaked out. Another friend of mine thought it would be a good idea to get her healing crystal necklace. So they put this necklace on me, and it burns my neck, and it hurt like hell. Then there was a mark, a red line, there for days after. I'm not allergic to anything, no kinds of metals or whatever, so the burn was pretty surprising. I used to have pictures, but that was so long ago I lost. Later that night, I go down to the dining room to eat. My friend comes up to me and tells me I have this dark aura coming off of me. He asked me if I'm okay. He's a Native American dude and very spiritual. This is right after the incident, so I don't think one of the girls had told him what had happened yet. So I tell him the story, and he's terrified. He holds up his cross necklace. Wait. I thought he was a spiritual Native American. Is he a spiritual Native American, or is he whitewashed? Come on, Renee. I need accurate information here. I flinch again, apparently, but I don't feel it. He says some prayer or something, and that's that. Another friend of mine at school who was very spiritual or religious, which one is it, Renee? Wouldn't come near me for almost a week after seeing me the next day. She didn't even know what had happened, but she felt the energy. I got her to come around after a week or two to try and cleanse my dorm and myself. Nothing had really happened with my apparent possession or whatever since then, so whatever it was is either gone or dormant, or maybe wasn't even there in the first place. And a couple of weeks after that, the school staff heard about the use of Ouija boards in the dorms, and not only with me and my friend, but apparently a few other groups were using them as well. There were signs posted everywhere banning Ouija boards from the school. LOL. The last quick thing I wanted to say was last summer, I worked in a place in Owatonna, Minnesota called the West Hills. It used to be an orphanage that burned down in 1930-ish. I can't remember how many kids died there, but I know it was a lot. I worked in the basement there all summer, where I seen shadowy figures walking or heard footsteps. Okay, well, this email got long. Sorry, LOL. I hope you find my stories interesting, though. I'm off to go listen to more Cosmic Channels. Keep up the great work. Thanks, Renee. Well, Renee, thanks for writing in. It's been awesome getting to come on here and read your story. Thanks a lot to the boys from ATT and Cosmic Channels here for having me on. It's been a blast. Thanks to Braden for coming on to my show for episode 20 and chatting about me with UFOs. Love to have the rest of the guys on sometime too. And if anybody out there's listening, hit me up at pod.fandoms@gmail.com if you want to come on and talk about whatever you're a fan of. If you don't hate the sound of my voice as much as I do, come check me out on Fandoms with Brody Otway on all your major podcast providers.
And if you don't feel comfortable calling into Cosmic Channels yourself, you can always write in your story to CosmicChannelsPodcast@gmail.com. You'll never know who might end up reading it. Hopefully someone better than me.
We're back. That's Brody from Fandoms. A lot of people say he sounds like Dan. There's people in the chat saying, if that is Dan, that mic needs to be replaced. Something's wrong with it. The lines are open. 1-833-703-0424. Sorry, I've done that story 2 weeks in a row now, but I had a little pressing emergency that I had to go and quickly attend. So thank you for bearing with me. But the lines are open. 1-833-703-0424. Some people tipping into the show. Zinger532 sent us a nice tip for hair plugs in Turkey. Thank you, Zinger, for supporting the show. Greatly appreciate it. Yeah, a little bit of diaper duty. That is exactly what happened. When they're around 1, they have a mind of their own. So sometimes it's a 2-person job. That being said, lines are open 1-833-703-0424. I got time for one more caller. I'm gonna take it into the shareholders meeting on this slow Thursday night tonight, but that's all good. We got some in the bank, so it's all good. I only needed like 2 or 3 calls to make an episode. I got extra calls in the bank, so we'll make it work. But if there's gonna be no other calls, give me about 1 more minute. We're gonna wrap this one up, and we'll go right to the shareholders meeting. Lines will still be open, so if you want to hang around and see what we can change on the show, you can. And the lines are still gonna be open until I absolutely shut the show down at the end of the night. But just like that, the Cosmic lines are now closed. We'll see you all in the shareholders meeting. If you're watching on Instagram or Kick, why don't you head over to YouTube or Facebook, and we continue the party there. Or Twitch, Cosmic Channels, we continue on there. So we will see you at the shareholders meeting. Whoa, just shareholders meeting. Calling the line. Cosmic Channels, what's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, this is Mama J, John Jacoby's mom, calling you back.
Hey, how's it going tonight?
All right. He got a hold of me and reminded me that I'm supposed to call again tonight.
What do you got for us tonight?
Well, I got a couple of ghost stories that happened to me. I thought I'd share.
Let's hear.
So, this was been, how many years ago was your accident? 2009, I get a phone call, and all I hear sirens in the background. And I hear, hey, is this Marcia? Yes. I'm with your husband. He's been hit on his motorcycle.
Oh, no.
And I said, oh, my God, is he alive? And he goes, could you hold on? So, you know what I'm thinking. So anyways, he gets on there and he tells me, he's okay and everything. So he has to go to the hospital, and to cut that a little shorter, he got to come home after a couple days. He had internal bleeding, but so I was exhausted. He was exhausted. We came home and sat in our chairs here, and we fell asleep until I felt someone touch my face. And anyways, I opened my eyes, and there was a lady standing there. I had no idea who she was. Middle-aged. She had on this little dress, and she goes, it was me. I was the one that saved Keith for you. It was me. And she disappeared. I had no idea. So I told my husband about it, and his mom. Come to find out, I described Keith's grandma to the T, who passed away when he was 12 years old when she passed.
Oh, wild.
Yeah, absolutely. And that was just,
so
it was crazy.
So, I'm just curious on this. Was she, because you saw her obviously when she looked younger than when she would have passed away?
Well, she was only, how old was she? She was only 58 when she passed.
Okay, and that's kind of what, like, the age you think you saw her at?
Yes,
okay.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And I never even got to see pictures of her, to tell you the truth. I had no idea. And it was just crazy. And it's funny because my husband's mother gave me his grandma's rolling pin. So I always felt like I had a connection with her because I enjoy cooking for my family. And
yeah.
So that's one story, yeah.
Well, did she just
God.
Just one second. Did she walk away or vanish? Like, how did she leave that?
I blinked and she was gone.
That's so crazy.
But I absolutely, she woke me up touching me, and at first I thought, what am I dreaming? And then I heard her talk to me. And I woke my husband up. I said, this lady just came, and and I believe that because I'll be honest, he could have easily died in this accident. He was T-boned by a car that ran a stoplight.
Oh, wow. Yeah,
And
it sounds like he had a little guardian there.
Yeah, I mean, did you have your helmet on? No, he didn't even have his helmet on.
Oh, my God, lucky. Beat the odds for sure.
Absolutely. So I think his grandma might have put her hand under there or something.
Yeah.
I'll tell ya. Oh, yeah, because you didn't. He flew off the bike, and they never did figure out how he got off of it.
Well, his grandma was probably waking you up to beat him with that rolling pin if he doesn't wear his helmet anymore.
Oh, he wears it now.
Good. Oh, my God, that's terrifying.
Yeah. And then another one was, my dad passed away. It's been 3 years ago, and I was quite close to my dad. And so I always, the way I guess I deal with my grief is I just talk to him like if he was just sitting here, to tell you the truth, you know. Hey, Dad, what's going on? And anyways, I was outside, and we live in the country, and it's so clear and beautiful out here. And first of all, I saw a shooting star just right in front of me. I thought it was going to like land in the field next to me. It was so crazy. And I said, Dad, I know you sent that to me, didn't you? I said, I wish you could just show me that you're here. And I got it on video. If I could send it to you, I would. There's this little light, like a little tiny flashlight light, came out and just danced around, just like a little fairy, you know?
Yeah.
And it just danced around and around. And I just, after I had that experience, I really truly began healing, because it's really tough when you lose a loved one, your dad, and your daddy's girl. But yeah, and I get premonitions all the time.
I was gonna ask, have you always had like this kind of connection to the paranormal?
Yes, absolutely, yes, and I told my grandma about it, and she said, oh yeah, she goes, that's been in our family for a long time. She goes, when I was a little girl, and now my grandma would be like 110 now if she'd be living, and she said as a little kid, they would sleep upstairs, and there was 18 of them, so imagine 18 children, and she said that you would hear things walking, coming up and down the steps, but there's nothing there. And she goes, so, oh yeah, she goes, I believe ghosts. I totally believe in ghosts. But yeah, I'll tell my husband stuff, like, hey, don't do that, because if you do, this is going to happen. Oh, he's like, yeah, right, and it'll happen.
It is weird. It is a weird thing, like those premonitions, or I mean, some people are just more in tune to that. What is it where you're like you almost will it to be? You know what I mean?
Oh yeah. Well,
I've never.
Oh, and then I had my uncle who owned this land that we live on. He gave me the land when he passed, and I was very close to him as well. And we were sitting in here, and my husband goes, "Are you making coffee?" I said, "None of us drink coffee. Why would I make coffee?" And all of a sudden, you could just smell coffee, like someone walked by with a cup of coffee, and he always had a cup of coffee in his hand. So I knew exactly who that was.
Yeah, it's just it's so interesting to hear stories from people that are so attuned to these things, because it's like some people get way more, like, have way more experiences and just way more sensitive to it.
Well, and that's why I wonder if I didn't see the UFO thing, because I don't know, I'm open to things. I think there's got to be more than just us on this earth.
Yeah.
And in this world, it's got to be. And, for the non-believers, I just have to say, wait and see. I mean, But I live on land that the Native Americans lived here. And we have several burial grounds, mounds on our property. And so, you know, I talked to people, I've done some research, and, you know, I always just respect the culture. So, you know, like if a tree dies, I plant a new one.
Yeah.
I always try to give back what I take. And so this new lady moved up a couple houses from us, and she was back. In the back of our property, we have a little bubbling stream that just comes up, just runs all the time. And it was known as Buffalo Waters. Buffalo Waters is where the buffalo actually went and would lay and waller, and they made the land, it's like clay. It's just so hard. So anyway, she was back there messing around. Well, she found some pottery and some Indian arrowheads and took them in her house. Well, she said that suddenly she had things moving. She had things, weird sounds. So she had a shaman come, and he asked, "What did you do?" And she said, "Well, I found these, you know, I brought these in." And he said, "You've got to go put those back exactly where you found them, or bad things will happen." And he walked back with her, and back where Buffalo Waters is, he goes, "You should never go in that land. That land is cursed."
Ooh.
And this is the truth. There's horses. The horses will not go in this one little square. It's crazy. So, you know, it's just, there's so much history that you just, if you find out just local history around you, that it's pretty amazing.
Oh, there's so many. There's so much little folklore and little area-specific legends that, you know, that don't go far and wide.
Oh, yeah. And I feel bad. I'm a retired teacher, so I'm always up to educate, you know, share stories.
Yeah.
And, you know, I think that's what we all need to do is, you know, inform each other, give you something to think about. I mean, I've had people tell me things, and I didn't always agree with it, but, you know, who's to say it wasn't right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, so John, he called, and he goes, "Mom, it's Thursday." I said, "Okay." You want me to share?
Oh, well,
you probably think his mom's crazy.
no, we love you. Listen, everyone who listens to the show, we love us some Mama Jacoby. So you feel free to call back anytime you want. Everyone loves you. Everyone loves your stories.
I send love back to all you guys. I appreciate it. It's really fun to talk to people that have a very open mind, and that's important, I'll tell you.
Yeah, and your first story hasn't even been released yet, and people already love you. That the episode that'll feature you is going to come out April 4th for podcasts.
Oh.
So
okay.
Then there's going to be even more. Trust me, there's going to be more Mama Jacoby fans because everyone loves you.
Well, I'll get to thinking what more I can tell you. I've had this really crazy, you know, when I was a little girl, I really didn't understand, you know, what was going on until I got older. And then, you know, I talked to my grandma. My mom wasn't so open to, you know, stuff.
Yeah.
But my grandma was. And, and she lived way in the south, you know, south of us. And I think that, you know, people who live more in the hollers and the hills do have more folklore, like you said, and are open to differences and all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
So, all right. Well, it was so nice talking to you.
Thank you so much for calling in again.
Okay. Well, see you later then.
Yeah. Take care of yourself.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye. Another awesome call from Mama Jacoby. Listen, we love the Mama Jacoby calls. We want Mama Jacoby to call in with the frequency that John calls with nothing. Lines are open. Welcome to shareholders meeting. A little bit of a slow start tonight, but now I don't know why they're picking up 7-Eleven. Or I guess I got to answer the line. Cosmic Channels, what's your name? Where are you calling from?
Rebecca. I'm calling from California, but I'm just visiting my daughter I'm from Cincinnati, Ohio, originally.
Oh, right on. First time caller?
Yes.
Perfect. What do you got
My
for us
daughter
tonight?
told me to call.
Oh, right on. Yes. I'm glad. What do you got for us tonight?
Excuse me?
What do you got for us tonight?
And she told me, Mom, you should call. Her name is Yulisa. She told me, you should call and tell that story. And I keep like, I don't know. So I finally got courage, and she pushed me. It was a story that happened to me. And to give you a background, that day, I played Ouija board, and I was a real heavy metal girl, and I was listening to Kiss and Saga, all those heavy metal diabolic, supposedly music.
Yeah.
So I live in an apartment complex in the fourth floor, and that was in Puerto Rico. I'm originally from there. And the floors are tiles, like many tiles, not big ones. So if you picture the entrance of the apartment, you can look from the entrance all the way to the hallway, and the last end of the hallway in the right is my bedroom, and it's real long. And the dining room is right in the entrance of the apartment. So after I'm listening to heavy metal music or whatever, and I just play the Ouija board, I go and lay down. So now I'm in the bedroom. Imagine you from the bedroom looking now towards the entrance of the house in a long hallway. So I'm laying in my bed, and the next thing I hear is like this screeching metal against the tile noise, like.
Ooh.
But since I was far from the entrance, and the entrance is the dining room, we are like poor, so the chairs was like aluminum and didn't have the bottom thing with rubber. It's just metal against the tile. So I could hear from far like the metal screeching, grabbing the tiles, and the noise was getting closer and closer. And I'm shaking my face. I'm like, what is happening? So I'm in my bed. I was like 13. So I'm in my bed sitting and thinking, what the hell? So it was far because it's a long apartment, and you can hear slowly getting stronger. The noise is stronger. And I start, oh my goodness. And I start, oh my goodness. And I started real scared until it got real close, because it's 4-bedroom apartment. So it's enough time to be longer enough, so it get real loud, like until again, I could tell that it was getting close to my bedroom, and I start praying. Ironically, after playing with a Ouija board and listening.
Yeah, please help me. I've made a mistake.
Hey, I experiment everything. So I start praying, and I say, God, please stop it, and everything stopped at the moment. I swear to you, and it stopped. It was silence. And then my door opened more. It was open, but open a little bit more. And I uncovered my face because I have the blanket on top of me. And the bed is in front of my closet. But the closet is a old building, and like I say, poor. They don't have closet doors or nothing. So it's just the shelf and the curtain, because we have curtains in the closet. So the next thing, after it was real quiet, all I can see, I don't know, I can explain it better than this, but it's like a big ball of, I'll say like a 3 sides of a basketball, and it was like a asteroid, and I see that it go inside the closet, so you can see the curtains going inside. And then it come outside, and it was like a big wing coming out of the closet, and through the windows, and the windows like shake a little bit. It was aluminum windows because it's in Puerto Rico, and you can hear but it came out through the window in my bedroom, and I keep screaming, "Ma, ma," like real loud, and it was next door. She didn't hear me. I could not believe that she didn't do that, and that was a story. I never knew what it was or where it came from, but in the end I was thinking no more Ouija board, no more satanic music, no more heavy metal.
Yeah, I'm a good girl now, and I'm gonna pray every day, do my homework.
I went to church next day. No, I'm just kidding.
That is terrifying. So you mean there was other people home when you were hearing this metal screeching that sounded like a
Yes.
chair? There was other people home. Did they hear it at all, or was this it was just affecting you?
Boy, the next day I told my mom, "Do you hear me?" Because after that, I went to sleep. I made sure there's no more noise, but the screams, I swear it was so loud. I don't know how she didn't hear me, because it was not that late, like 11 night or 10:30, because it was a school night next day.
Yeah.
And she should hear me. It was next door. It's not that as loud as a scream. I don't know why she didn't. But I told her next day. She said, "I didn't hear you nothing." And she usually go to bed and read all that. So I don't have no idea how she didn't hear the screeching in the floor or even me screaming that loud.
Did anyone else in the house play the Ouija with you, or was it you? Like, was there anyone else there?
No.
So just you, right? So maybe
We went to a neighbor. That's another story. We went to not a real story, but we went to a neighbor's in the back street to play that. And it was me and my sister, little sister, and another guy. He got tired because he thought it was a fake thing. Then me and my sister kept playing outside. And she said, I blame her that she's moving it, and she's blaming me because that's the part of the game. It creates like not trust between players, and you don't know if it's true or not. But the thing is that I was thinking if I release my fingers, I can know if she's moving or not. But she released her fingers doing that instead of me, and it kept moving with me. So I know it was for sure, and it was moving just with me. And I know I wasn't pushing it, so I was just barely touching it to take me wherever it was going. And we was asking all crazy stuff, and it started cursing at us in Spanish too. And I'm like, oh, this way is my lengua. So I started saying cabron, all kind of stuff. I'm like, oh my goodness. And I started moving faster. It was like going insane. I stopped it and I told my sister, let's go. And that was the same day. Then I didn't learn my lesson. I went home and started listening the records. So back then it was the vinyl records.
Yeah.
And I played Saga. I don't know if you know the heavy metal, and Kiss and Ozzy Osbourne, all that stuff.
Yeah.
And that's when I went to sleep, and supposedly I never made it until all that happened.
Yeah, so it makes me think that like maybe the reason that no one else was hear it, because it doesn't sound like you guys closed the board properly, right? And it's some people are avid of like you have to
follow me.
Yeah, they're like and it followed you home, right?
Yeah.
And
oh my goodness.
And it was just affecting you, right? And that's why you saw the things and heard the things, but everyone else in the house, you were living through a horror movie. Is what you were living through.
That's what I thought. I stand up for a second because I was thinking maybe I'm opening my eyes, but I'm not completely awake. So I got up when the noise, but I jumped back in my bed. I'm not going out of here.
Right, that's terrifying.
If you have time, I'll tell you one more.
Yeah,
story
of course. Let's hear it.
But I was a witness, but I was a baby. This is my mom telling me.
Okay.
She told me that the one time when I was in the crypt, she heard me. She just put me there. I was fall asleep, all fine. And at the moment, she was reading newspaper, and I started screaming real loud, like crying, but loud, like somebody heard me. So she ran to the bedroom, and she say that in the walls, my crib was in front of the window, and she say she could see, first of all, something with no blanket on. It was completely to the side. And then she saw these little steps, kind of like a dog prints. And it was in the wall from the crib all the way to the wall, like somebody scrolling, all the way to the ceiling, and then all in the part of the wall that is connected to the window, like somebody stepped in, and it was doo-doo because it was in my crib too. And she checked my diaper, and my diaper was fine, so it was not come from me. And the window was open, and she left it closed. So she told the neighbor after that, and she said that the neighbor told her that a witch it was trying to kidnap me.
A witch? Oh my goodness! With that, I'm sure that put your mom at ease.
Or the neighbor know about witches.
Yeah, I mean that's terrifying.
So obviously they didn't kidnap me
Yeah.
But I thought that was funny that my mom even tell me that story. Like, oh, thank you, Mom. Now I know a witch is trying to follow me. Who knows until when she got me.
Well, thank you so much for calling in, and thank Julissa for, she's a friend of the show, so thank you for, make sure you pass on my thanks for getting you to call tonight. We really appreciate it.
She's listening right now.
Oh, right
on. Thank you for taking my call.
And anytime you want to call back, feel free to do.
I'm going back to Cincinnati Saturday, so I'll stay in touch.
Perfect. Have a nice night.
Okay, have a good night.
Bye. That was our first call from Puerto Rico, or from someone from Puerto Rico, I think. Maybe we've had one more. Never mind. Sorry. Second person. First mom from Puerto Rico, though. That's for sure. Mom's night tonight. I don't know what's happened. When is Mother's Day? May? Can I push this episode and make a special Mother's Day episode? When's Mother's Day? May 5th? Right? Maybe. I might be able to swing that. I probably could. Maybe I'll make that happen. We got time for one more call before I get out of here. We weren't even doing this. I was just doing a shareholders meeting, get some stuff going. But luckily, we've got enough calls to fill the show. So perfect. Started off as a slow night, but it ended on an absolute high note. So that was perfect. All of our ads that we've been saving up for start running next week. They start running Monday. Leading up to the season 8 dropping on the podcast version for episode 4, April 4th, for season 8 on April 4th. So you're gonna start seeing the targeted ads that I've been sharing with everyone on Discord as early as probably Tuesday next week. If you're, because you follow Cosmic Channels, you might see them popping up on our socials, and then you'll start seeing some season 8 ads, as well as if you listen to other pods, there's a chance that you might hear a Cosmic Channels ad at the beginning or middle of a show. So thank you all for supporting the show. I did see some extra donations coming in to keep the lines open from Bandito. Thank you so much, everyone, for supporting the show. Make sure to go listen to Cosmic Channels. We're up 280% in March so far on YouTube. We're getting close to that 3,000 listener hours goal, so then we can start monetizing the YouTube channel to get more ads to grow the show. Thank you, everyone, so much. I'm definitely going to look at maybe just permanently, maybe I'll just keep the show live until 7:30. It's starting to feel like we're getting a wave of calls closer to 7. So, if that's kind of where the bulk of callers are, that's kind of where I'll shift the show. And I've started to think that because I edit these so much now, especially you'll see with season 8, I did send out season 8 episode 1 sample to a couple people so they could preview it for me. I edit them. It's kind of like a shareholders meeting the whole time on these YouTubes. It's a completely different feel now. But anyways, thank everyone for the support. We'll see you next Thursday. And as always, I'll be on Discord immediately after this. So thank you all so much. And the Cosmic Lines are now closed.